Hello, Filabeast here, and today I'm going to review the new game Suzerain. Suzerain is a political simulator slash choose your own adventure game, and right off the bat, no spoilers, I would have to recommend it, just for the huge amount of replayability and just the price. I played this game's demo when it was first released, however many months ago that was, and I wasn't really paying attention to this game, but I liked the demo well enough, so when I saw it released, I picked it up especially for only $15, $11 if you're buying around the release of this video. So I'll go over the story a little bit. This will contain a few spoilers, so if you want to go in there with like no expectations, nothing about the plot, go ahead and play now. So you play as Anton Rain, current president of Swordland, and you get to decide, how he got there. What did he do during the Swordish Civil War and coup, that happened before he became president? You have to lead the country through a recession and choose which economic system will lead Swordland out of it. So whether that's free market capitalism or a planned state-run economy or any mix in between, that's up to you. A pretty cool part of this game is the choices that you get to make. You can be any kind of politician you want to be. You want to install a fascist dictatorship with you at the head? You're welcome to try. You want to form a communist utopia? If you want to pal up with the West and become a capitalist, you can be a super clean politician who never takes bribes, never gives bribes, and does everything through the system. Or you can take bribes. You can come out of this rich and set yourself up long after you're done being president. Or maybe you're the one doing the bribing. I mean, you get to decide if you were born poor or rich or in between. You're also tasked with reforming the Constitution. And with that, you can turn yourself into a dictator with the reforms. Or maybe you want to enact more democratic reforms. Or, anything in between. But the thing is, you'll have to juggle multiple factions' demands and needs. You cannot push the reform through by yourself. You're going to have to ally with certain wings of your party or even other parties entirely. The world this game takes place in is a lot like our own. The year is 1954, and two superpowers are fighting for influence. The Eastern powers, who are communist, and the Western powers, who are capitalist, obviously based off the USA and USSR of our own timeline. But you'll be able to pick up the similarities to our own world pretty easily. I mean, they have a gun called the KA-74, as opposed to the AK-47, and then the Rican continent as opposed to the African continent. So, you don't really have to worry about getting too confused, especially because there's a really nice built-in encyclopedia system. So while conversations and speeches go on or in the newspaper, words that are highlighted can be clicked, and then the encyclopedia will open up on the right side of the screen, and you can still continue your conversation. It's not that intrusive, and it'll tell you all the info you need to know. Even for characters, and it's updated with new information as the game continues and as characters change. Another cool tab, which helps you learn about the world, is the News tab. It shows you the articles of all newspapers in Swordlands, and different newspapers have different biases and intents, and they'll cover what you do differently. Like the economics is a pro-capitalism and privatization of industries newspapers. So, when you support the free market, they're going to say what you did was good. When you don't, they're going to say it's bad. So, how does this game actually work? Well, like the UI is basically just you looking at the map of your country and the surrounding nations, and there's every city in Swordland on it. If there's an exclamation point above a city or a point, and you click on it, that means there's a conversation to be had. And this is how the story is told, through meetings with your cabinet members, or you're hanging out your house, or interacting with your family, or you're attending a festival, which is cool. I appreciate the map perspective, especially how, you kind of get to see like, oh, here's where I am right now. Here's how things like are. Like you actually get a scale of what your country looks like. So now I'm going to talk about aspects of the games I didn't really like, and I'm not going to say there's too many, but the things they get wrong, like they really get wrong. The one thing I really don't like is the whole economy aspect of the game and how it's portrayed. I don't see anything wrong with their like options or what they let you do with the economy. But so you can tell how good your economy is doing by a bar in the upper right, which tells you, how your economy is doing. You want it to be filled up. And next to it is the government budget, which of course represents how much money the government has. But the thing is, the numbers aren't very consistent, and you never really have a chance to get like excess money. It's hard to save money, and I'll explain why. So the numbers aren't realistic. Like to fund a huge infrastructure project, it costs one budget point. You know what also gives you one budget point? Raising the luxury tax by 10%. Like what? How are there that many rich people in this country that just endured a civil war and is just kind of trying to get back to normalcy after Soul's leaving? It just doesn't make sense. Like, how are there that many rich people buying yachts and, expensive cars and caviar enough to fund an entire infrastructure project? I really don't like it when games like have massive amounts of money be represented by like 1 point. It just makes things like murky. It makes things gray. Just see how many millions the government is working with, especially in a political sim game like this. I want exact numbers. I want to know how much I'm actually spending, not just, oh, this costs 1 point and this costs 2 points. Fuck that. The other problem with your budget is that it's so hard to get points and keep them because they aren't replenished. You know how in most government simulators, when you get taxes, like maybe once a year or every 6 months or something, you get some money back to like play around with. Not in this game. So I decided to buy, as I mentioned, I decided to build a massive infrastructure project. So you give them one budget point and it takes 6 months to build. And then you don't get it back. I don't understand that. That's not how budgets work. If I'm going to pay something for like, I don't know, let's say like when you get a car loan, so you pay that money every single month until it's paid off. It's not like, okay, $20 a month for the rest of your life. Like, no. Once it's paid off, it's paid off. I don't build infrastructure for a living, so I don't know if it costs the same to build a highway and maintain it. I'd imagine it doesn't. Like, you should get a certain amount of points back every year. And that could be decided by how the economy's doing or if expenses are going down. Like, I pulled the country out of recession. People have more money. They're buying things. And we just don't have any, like, money. Like, we don't get more money from that. Why wouldn't the government's coffers be getting bigger if the entire country is doing better? Another thing I would have appreciated is a save system. I know they didn't want a save system so that your choices are impactful, but it's super annoying when you have a bad ending and you can't just like reload from a certain point or even from like the different chapters and try again. No, you have to play the whole like 4 to 6 hour campaign. Like some people take longer than others. And I know it goes faster once you've played it a few times and you know what choice you want, but still, that's annoying. And then like you can't even skip conversations your other times around. It just doesn't make much sense. It's a video game. I understand what they were going for, but just like let us save. Maybe have like an Iron Man mode or something. And the multiple endings, they're pretty cool, but I guess not entirely well executed. Like I've noticed people, especially in the Suzerain subreddit, like people are having such a hard time getting reelected, with some people even saying that it was like impossible. The devs say it is, but I digress. And then I don't like how they execute the military coup ending. Like you can have the greatest economy and the history of Swordland and be popular, but the military is still able to take over. Like the people wouldn't try to rise up and ensure that the democratically elected president stays in power. They don't care. They would just lay over and take it. No, I don't think so. And then I guess I would have appreciated like a Fallout-esque like slideshow at the end. I know they kind of do that, but I would have appreciated seeing like where all the characters ended up, like Lucian and like things like that. I don't know. So I guess overall, I would have to recommend this game for the journey alone, even if the endings aren't great and there's some issues with the economy. I mean, it's a unique game. There really isn't a game like this. So for $11, I'd have to recommend you buy it. That's all I have. So this is Filabeast signing off.